Welcome to the Stafford Motor Speedway on a beautiful 80-degree Thursday afternoon. Bonssa Tufa in the month of October, where we still have 2 events left on our calendar, including NAPA Championship Night tomorrow night.
And none of this was planned from the get-go. We've just had so many battles with Mother Nature, and Mother Nature has won a lot of them. But yes, we're in October. The weather's beautiful today. It better stay that way tomorrow because we have a lot to decide in these next few weeks.
The SK Modifieds headline the program here tomorrow night with the TC13. Also, their penultimate championship feature event of the season. Remember, they're back in action in a couple of weeks' time, part of the NAPA Fall Final for their final points race of the year. But Todd Owen, the current championship leader, could clinch tomorrow night.
Could get his 3rd straight SK Modified championship. No one's done it before at Stafford. He's been top 10 every week. That's pretty much what he has to do here. 9th or better, clinches the title or finish within 8 positions of Corey DiMatteo, who is 2nd in points. But there's a lot of other type points battles as well outside the front 2 because there's a point fund that gets paid out. So the higher up you are in the standings, naturally, the more money you get. And these teams want to get as much money as possible.
Including the race to be among the top 5. Michael Jarvis has that position now. You have Marcello Refrano just a few points behind him.
Yep.
Mikey Flynn is in that mix as well. 5th, 6th, and 7th, pretty tight.
I think 5th through 10th is separated by less than 40 points, which is a lot, but not really because you still got 2 more events to go, and we've had 20, 25, almost 30 SKs every given week. One bad night, I mean, look what happened to David Arute. He wrecked, fell from, I think, 7th to 10th. You have a good night, you might make it back up a spot or 2, but when you have one of those bad nights, it can drop you deep in the standings. So even after 15 events, there's still some very tight battles and a lot on the line money-wise in these last 2 events for the SKs.
And still 100 points on the line for SK Modified teams with 2 championship events remaining, including tomorrow night. In the late models, you mentioned one champion already decided, Kevin Gambacorda, but that battle from 2nd on back, led by Adam Gray's tight. Wayne Corey Jr.'s there, as is Tom Fern.
I think 2nd through 6th might be separated by like 30, 35 points. Again, we've had 20 late models every week, so it can change in just 1 week. We've seen a lot of drivers go through a lot of troubles this year. It's been a wild year in the late models. We've seen some chaos. So if one of these drivers get caught up in an early accident and can't finish, you finish 19th, 20th, you could lose 30 to 35 to almost 40 points in one night. So we'll have to see what happens from 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. There's a lot on the line, and a lot can change, even though they only have 1 more race.
For the record, just 8 points separates 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That's just a couple of positions on the racetrack. In the SK Lite Modifieds, with the huge fields that we have had, it's going to be an accomplishment just to make the top 10 in the championship standings. And it's tight back there. Megan Fuller's in 9th, Cassandra Cole's in 10th, but just a few points out. Ron Midford Jr., who got off to a tough start this season, has battled his way back into the 11th spot.
Yeah, Midford's been under the radar because he had an accident, I think, before heat started in the season opener, which set him behind to begin with. But he's been a quiet top 10 car if he stays out of trouble. Sometimes it's hard to do that. But Midford has been really good this year when he's not found trouble. He was running 2nd when he got caught up in an accident amongst the leaders, like Tyler Berry, Tyler Alkis about a month ago, the same wreck that Brian Sullivan got caught up in. Midford was running 2nd when that happened. He got spun from behind. He's been fast, but Cassandra Cole's had several top 10 runs. Meg Fuller has a win this year. In front of Meg is Nick Hovey. Nick Hovey is the Rookie of the Year. There's a lot of different drivers with a lot of different things that can happen to them that can change a lot in the standings. And I know even those who are 9th, 10th in points, they want to move higher. They take so much pride in getting as high up in the standings in that division with that many cars.
Midford, 27 points out of the top 10. Sounds like a lot, but in a 30-plus SK Lite Modified field, that's only 14 spots on the racetrack. One bad night for him or Cassandra Cole. He has a good run in the top 10. He's in.
And we talk about that with the championship, too, where Bassett and Sullivan are tied for the title lead, but Tyler Chapman's 40 points behind. That's almost nothing, I feel like, in the SK Lights this year because we've seen it where one bad finish, you lose 40 points just like that.
In the limited late models, we've talked a lot about the championship race between Jeremy Lavoie and Matt Clement, but things are tight from 3rd on back as well with Kevin Cormier and last year's champion, Rich Hammond.
Yeah, 3rd, 4th, 5th, they're pretty close up there. Paradise is 5th in points. He's going for Rookie of the Year. He has Rookie of the Year, and he's had a great year at that. Cormier's had a bit of a setback the last few times he's been out there. Mechanical issues, getting caught up in an accident, getting penalized. But he still wants to get as high as he can in the standings. So we'll see what Cormier can do. He's had a great year. 4 victories on the season. That's tied for most. Rich Hammond has really come alive in the last month and a half, 2 months. He went back-to-back in victory lane, got caught up in an accident after that, and then got a podium last week, or 2 weeks ago. We'll see what happens there. Adrian Paradise III has 3 runner-ups. He's on a streak of, I think, 5 straight top 5 finishes. That car has gotten better every week. So it's a toss-up. We don't know who's going to come out on top when it comes to the standings in the championship and for third in points.
14 points separate third, fourth, and fifth in the limited late model championship standings. And in the street stocks, all of our eyes, of course, have been on the top 2. Ryan Waterman, Travis Hydar running for the championship, but to just make the top 5 tight as well from about 4th on back, led by Burt Willett, Johnny Walker in that mix as well.
I mean, look at Travis Downey. He got caught up in an incident, and he dropped. He was up there 4th, 5th in the point standings. Now he's down to, I think, 7th. That's how tight it is. I mean, you got guys like him, Trott, Plemons, I think, is 3rd in the points. Burt Willett is in there. They're all so tight together. They're kind of like the best of the rest, I guess you can say, because they're well behind Waterman and Hydar. But that's a tight group, and they're all really good wheelmen, and they all have a shot, if anything happens this Friday, of getting a victory. They're all looking for victory. The only drivers that have won besides Hydar and Waterman are Downey and Daniel Chuck. So we'll see what happens this Friday. The street stocks have put on a show every week. Fender banging, old school action. Sometimes it's calm, sometimes it's not.
16 points separate 4th, 5th, and 6th place running Tyler Trott in the Street Stock Championship standing. So what it comes down to, it's, while we're focusing on the championship battles, there's a lot of other incentives out there for these drivers to be among the top 3, the top 5, the top 10, just wanting to improve that one spot here in the final night of their regular season.
You got the championship battles, but there's always battles within battles in the pack. And there's so many things to follow, so many stories to keep track of. And we'll see how much of it gets settled tomorrow night.
And don't forget the TC13 part of the night as well for the SK Modifieds to wrap up the night. Always a wild race. It was a year ago, and we expect another wild one here tomorrow night.
The first 4 laps of last year's TC13 were some of the wildest laps I had seen in the SK Modifieds. And they have some wild racing on top of that. A great story last year with Mike Christopher Jr. winning. It's 13 laps, no points on the line, just some extra money, and a lot of aggressive drivers at that. It's going to be a good one.
In honor of the late, great Ted Christopher, the all-time win leader here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. It all gets underway at 6 o'clock here on Friday night. And like always, if you can't be here, you can tune us in on Flow Racing.